What's good and welcome back to part 2 of my great chaos theory video, Peasants and Peasants. For anyone who is just showing up now, go make sure you watch part 1 because this is part 2 of 2, and if you ain't seen part 1, this will make no sense whatsoever. So assuming everyone's now watched it, let's get straight into it. There is so much to cover, oh my goodness. So I released my chaos theory video, and what timing that was. The day I released it, we had the death magic. Yep, you knew it was coming. I'm covering it, the death magic video, and you guys were linking me it like crazy. Oh my goodness, Peasant, take a look. Oh my lord, this ties in with everything you were saying, and it really did. Now I was really picking up on the whole thing about the red eyes, the red magitech, the red demons, the red orbs in Glauca's outfit, all of that going on. And then we had it, and how chaos was in summons, how it was in demons, how it was in the monsters of Eos, and it was a creation of all things, and how it had been turned into the magitech as well. And then here we have it, Noctis with the ring of the Lucii. He's sucking the life force out of all of those things, and they appear as red orbs. He's absorbing chaos, and isn't it just interesting? Not only is it done with the ring of the Lucii, which I talked about in the last video, it's also so clear because only Noctis can do it. That's a lot of chaos, and I'm going to talk about at the end what that really means. I'm going to get onto the story aspect as I promised, but before I do that, a couple of other little quirky points I'll point out. From the doomtrain aspect, someone asked, okay, well, if doomtrain is a summon, where is doomtrain in the Genesis picture? Now that's a fair and reasonable question, because the summons are in this Genesis picture. So here's the Genesis picture. Let me just flip it for you. Let me just zoom in. And there it is. There it is. Doom motherfucking train. All aboard. He's happening. It's in the game. And he kind of looks like a normal train here. And that kind of makes sense really with how the rest of the astrals in the picture kind of look half humanoid. I think it's even possible that this could be like the Final Fantasy VI Phantom train, where just a normal kind of train then becomes something you fight. I think Chaos has that ability to warp even objects like a train into something dark and malevolent. I think that's a possibility. And I agree with what everyone said in my poll. I don't think Doomtrain is going to be something we summon. I do just think it's going to be something that appears when the nights get darkest. I even think Doomtrain could mean something more than that, but I'll cover that. I'll cover that in a minute. I won't cover that now. The other thing is Merciless 5, the way, shout out to you, bro, or broette, sorry. Merciless 5 ain't a dude. She came out and she described Warp Strike in a really cool, neat way. Because I found all the things with Warp Strike and how Nyx, he's sort of hearing his dead sister when he tries to Warp Strike, and how he was connecting to the void, to the unseen realm. Merciless 5 worded in a way of when they Warp Strike, they're not connected to it, they are traveling through the unseen realm, and that was so dope. On so many levels. I mean, what is the unseen realm? Let's break it down. That's where I'm going to start this story off. The unseen realm. It would have been something that would have been in Final Fantasy 15. Or not 15, I should say Versus 13. Versus 13, I'll just say, was going to be so closely connected to FF13. So close, in fact, that once upon a time, they were saying that Lightning was going to be a guest in Versus 13. So it was going to be really closely connected to the Fabula Nova Crystallis. There would have been Chaos, there would have been Etro. That's why I theorized that Lucis originally were going to be Etro worshippers. They were described as a mafia family. There were all these skulls, and they were using forbidden magic. And it would only be logical that they were Etro worshippers. But when I've said that, and I said that in my previous video, would that have been the case even then? Is what do we have in this game? We have the king and the oracle closely connected. Darkness and light, they go hand in hand. Both are just as important as of one and another. And this is a really important aspect. Not even just between Noctis and Luna. I mean, even down to the names. Noctis, it not only does it mean night, but Lucis, it means light. So the whole references of night and light in the name. I've even shown why Ignis's name, that also refers to both dark and light. There's references in things like Somnus to the king of light. We even have in this picture here, the Genesis picture, I believe these are 4 main characters. I mean, if Ignis is blind, he's being supported up by Gladiolus, and you've kind of got the guy who looks a bit blonde. And then you've got Noctis in the middle, and you see how his hands is up. And again, it's the whole thing with light, darkness and light. They do go hand in hand. Well, if this is the case, if the Oracle and the King should always be together, an Oracle and someone who is a controller of chaos, well, this game wouldn't have been Etro, would it? Because Etro died. And who replaced Etro? It wasn't Lightning. She was only a servant of Etro for a very short while. The person who replaced Etro was none other than Yule. Yule, who just so happens to be an Oracle, and that's kind of scary. It's kind of scary. There's even a possibility that you had Caius, Ballard and Yule, who both then hand in hand decided to be the balance of chaos. Now, chaos was so important, it needed someone, and Caius and Yule, they stayed behind. And Yule would have been this, they would have been Yule worshippers, not Etro worshippers. And I kind of think that if you've got Caius, who was a controller of chaos, just like Lucis, and you've got Yule, who's an oracle, there were some really uncanny connections there. I don't know if that was ever the original plan, the original concept, but the whole thing with Oracle and Unseen Realm, I'm telling you guys, there's something there. Not to mention the fact that I believe that Luna Freya, when Noctis, he gathers all this chaos, he becomes Chaos Noctis. Luna Freya, she won't be able to do what she promised. She promised she would banish the darkness from the world. Well, if Noctis is the embodiment of all this darkness after he's collected all of the darkness in the world, she would have to banish him. That would be the true tragedy, that she would have to banish Noctis to fulfill her promise. And I said she wouldn't do that. She would then find a way to become the balance. And becoming the balance of dark and light, she would in herself then take in some of the chaos from Noctis, and she would become a darker version of herself, almost kind of like Gentiana. You know, Gentiana was an oracle, the white robes, they then transition to black, maybe the hair turns black. I'm telling you, if they do that, even just on an outfit level, give Luna Freya sort of a dark kind of bit more skimpier cut black outfit, I'm all game, Square Enix. I'm all game for that. But if she did that, I then said that she would become Selene, Eos, goddess of the dawn's sister, whose name, whose Roman counterpart is literally Luna, the goddess of the moon, and that would be the embodiment of Luna Freya's darker version of her taking on her portion of the chaos to be the balance of light and dark in the world. Well, going on, we've got so much here. So we've got Selene, a Greek primordial deity. We've got Eos, a Greek primordial deity. I've shown all the things with Nyx, who is a Greek primordial deity. I've shown all the things with Chaos, who is a Greek primordial deity. He's pretty much the epicenter of the Fabula Nova Crystalla story. But there are 2 more that I need to possibly throw at you. And this is really important because this whole thing with the King of Light. And a lot of people have been picking up on these King of Light references. And I've seen multiple theories that Lucifer, Catholicism, Christianity, he would be the final boss. Well, I've got a slightly different take on it. I do see all the King of Light references, but I actually believe that the final boss, because there will be multiple bosses at the end. I think that some of them are going to be Knights of the Round. I think one could be Ardyn. I think one could be Ravus. It's going to kind of be like any Final Fantasy end dungeon. It's going to be multiple very, very big important bosses. I think one could be Regis. But I also think the real big one, it will be Hyperion. Hyperion, another huge overarching Greek primordial deity who is both father of Eos, goddess of the dawn, and Selene. What does Hyperion represent? He is the god of light and wisdom. He's even referred to as the king of light. I think that's really possible. I don't overlook these Greek references going on. I'll throw this one more out there. This is really up in the air, but if Nyx is based on Nyx, the goddess, and he was in this Genesis picture, and he was the one, we know he was the one who got Ultros impaled, then who is this on the other side? I think that with parallels, we have to assume that there's going to be some sort of connection, some sort of link, something similar between these two figures. Well, I don't think that this one, impaling this serpent creature, who I believe could represent Jormungandr, the Herald of Ragnarok, I don't believe it could be any of the brothers, because I believe they're all up here. So pop your tinfoil hats on, peasants. Who do you think it is? My best guess is there is a Greek primordial called Ulithria, probably butchering the pronunciation. And the reason I go with Ulithria is because if Nyx is here, surely this might even be a kingsglaive member. And Ulithria, who is connected to the Greek primordials, their Roman counterpart, just like Luna is to Selene, is called Libertus. Libertus! Isn't it Libertus coming back? Is he? Is he appearing in the game? Let me know if you come up with any other better ideas, Pezzies. But returning back to the story, and I'm gonna go to the four fiends to cover all of this. I didn't have any idea for the Lich. I think now, after finding that Final Fantasy VIII connection and showing how that really is something hugely based on Doomtrain, all the references, how Doomtrain could be the darkest, most sinister summon we've seen, I think he could be the Lich. That Doomtrain could represent the Lich, the embodiment of death. It would really connect, it would make sense. The train that transports the souls of the dead. I'm going to throw that in there as one of the four fiends. Next up, I had Ultros in as Kraken, and I really weren't sure. I really was never feeling this. And I wanted to find a way, so I got searching through the internet and it worked out. I don't believe he is one of the four fiends. I think the Kraken is still a mystery left to be unsolved, a creature that we haven't yet encountered. And the reason why I flipped on this position is, and this was quite exciting, remember I said that I would only believe that the summons were beholden to Lucis because of their control over chaos, and how Niflheim and Tenebrae couldn't have summons. And I kind of said in one of the previous videos that Cerberus, he could have been overtaken by the microchips, and then pointed to the microchips. Here's some more examples of those microchips being used. Well, I looked about and I found these pictures, and yes, Ultros also had those chips on him, so he was not a summon. Even if he was a summon god, who even knows what Ultros was in the Kingslave movie, he was under the influence of those microchips, and that's really key. And I don't think a servant of chaos, or one as important as that, could be controlled. And this is where I'm going to get onto the story. So the Kraken is open, guys. If anyone's got any suggestions, let me know, but it's time for a story, peasants. So the other remaining servants of chaos, the Marilith. Let's go to that. These four fiends, they are the most loyal servants of chaos. They are the ones who would want to piece their master back together. If his power has been dispersed out into the world, if the crystal is missing a chunk of it, they would want to piece and hold their master again. Now, going to the Marilith, remember in Kingsglaive when she came up against young Noctis, and I pointed this out in the video before, she kind of hesitated and she kind of had this curious look on her face. She didn't kill Noctis. She was curious. I think for a second there, she was seeing a worthy host in Noctis for her master. The same thing that Ardyn Izunia has clearly seen. Noctis is probably going to be a rare case of someone who can handle that amount of chaos. That's probably why the deal went wrong. This first king, who they tried to enslave, who they tried to make worthy enough to be their master's host, he probably wasn't strong enough or worthy enough, and now 150, 200, 300 years later, Noctis is appearing as the most worthy host. And this ties with everything in the story, the nights getting darker, with Noctis bringing a lot of the suffering to the world, just like the Lucii. Noctis isn't innocent in all of this, because what does he do when he kills the Marilith, one of the really important servants of chaos? An eclipse happened, and also the way they describe Marith as a demon. That also connects with the demons also having chaos. So all the links are there, it's happening, please be excited. And now for the fourth and final one, Ardyn Izunia, and this is where I am going to blow your minds and leave your jaw hanging off. I said I would prove that the person on this cosmogony book was Ardyn. That this was his master, and he was an ancient being, a servant of chaos, and also somehow someone who is in love with an astral. It's crazy. Have they made a chaos fiend? Have they made him both a servant of chaos and a summon? This person who is embracing this I believe it's Leviathan. Some of you still think it's Siren. We'll just leave it at that for now until we get more evidence. I think it's Leviathan. I know who Ardyn is, and I need to go over to remember the secret movie ending of the episode Dusky. And I'm going to read this out, and I just want you to keep in mind the narrative of what I was saying, that I believe that he was selling this to the king for immortality, for his line to endure. Well, I'm going to read the text at the end of the secret Dusky ending, which they said was a hint of what's to come. That was the description, a hint of what's to come. Air rotted soul under blighted sky, a dread plague the wicked has wrought. In the light of the gods, sword sworn at his side, against the dark the king's battle is fought. The heavens hide, the blessed below, shines the beam of a peace long besought. Now it's this next bit. And this bit was in quotation marks. So this is someone saying this. And I want you to pretend as you look at this cosmogony book that this is what the person with the black wings is saying. So it says, long live thy line and these stones divine for the night when all comes to naught. Long live thy line. These stones divine, it ties with this guy with the black wings selling the king this crystal as something that was divine, not its true nature, because this is a chaos crystal, it just is. This is something dark. And long live thy line, that was the promise that his line would endure. Now, what's really important and why this is Ardyn is because of how this was signed off. It was signed off Cosmogony chapter 15 verse 2, signed off by Nadir. And Nadir, guys, Nadir, all you have to do, and it would be spelt a little different so it wasn't obvious, flip the words around, flip the name around, just like Tom Riddle did. Was it Tom Riddle as Voldemort in Harry Potter? Nadir is Ardyn, spelled, but just with the letters rearranged. It's Ardyn. It's Ardyn. Oh my goodness, that is Ardyn's true name. His name is Nadir, and he did a Tom Riddle, and he flipped his name around. That is his true identity. Ardyn confirmed as black-winged ancient being, possibly in love with an astral, sold the crystal to the king and the oracle. He was the one who started everything. Ardyn, I'm going to call him Nadir from now on. I'm just going to call him Nadir. Oh my goodness, my mind is blown. Oh no. Oh man, Nadir, if this is the case, if Nadir, he is Ardyn, he is this could make him the greatest villain of all time. This really could, but could it? This is the final part of my story. Although Ardyn, and he's going around the world, he's trying to complete his master, and he's not been able to do that for a very long time because there hasn't been a worthy enough host. That could be the reason. There could be a multitude of reasons why Ardyn is only getting involved now, or should I say Nadir, and only introducing this power to Niflheim now. Why has he only decided to make his move now, not with any previous Lucis king? Is it the same reason why the Marilith held off on killing Noctis? Because he's identified someone who would be his master's host. And this is the thing. Is Ardyn the greatest villain of all time, or is it the one who is his absolute dream? Noctis is Ardyn's wet dream come true. That sounds so wrong. He is everything that Noctis wants. Not only is he a worthy host, Noctis is the one who goes around and does all the work for him. Noctis is the one who pieces all the parts of chaos from all around the world at Ardyn's behest. He is putting his master back together for him. Noctis is doing all of it, and I've been suspicious of this for such a long time, and this really solidifies my belief. These two Chaos Theory videos and everything we've seen, if we take away the framing of Noctis, this heroic good guy framing, if we strip him bare, take away this notion of good guy, bad guys, and look at Noctis for what he does. Because people are always so blinded by this. What is Noctis in the eyes of anyone else on EOS? He's a villain. Not just a villain, but the biggest villain. I mean, bigger than Sephiroth, bigger than Kefka. Seriously, look at what Noctis does and look at what he causes. He's a black outfit wearing mafia prince of a mafia family who had an entire city of innocent people, an entire city destroyed for him, only for him. His family of death worshippers, your worshippers, skull worshippers, chaos magic wielders who have lived behind their barriers held up with dark forbidden magic, Luna's words, not mine, for hundreds of years. This magic that creates the Lucii, this magic that has brought dark evil creatures to the world. Imagine what untold death and destructions those things have spread throughout the world. And put yourself in the shoes of anyone else, put yourself in the shoes of a Tenebrae soldier. How much would you hate Lucis if they're the reason why, your family got killed by an iron giant? Who knows, or a Naga, or any of these other crazy dark creatures. And let's be real, there's no shortage of hatred for Lucis. The kingsglaive turned on him. Tenebrae turned on their own royal family just for a chance to go at to get Regis and his son. Drautus Glauca, who had about the best position you can have, even he turned. Do you think all this hatred is unjustified? And Niflheim's motives are all unjustified and they're just the bad guys? No, they're not. I believe that Noctis with his demon swords, look at them. Look at his demon swords, his unnatural ability to kill, his red glowing eyes, his journey through the world, collecting more and more chaos, getting more and more powerful by the day, to Chaos Noctis, collecting the darkness, even affecting the balance of the very cosmos itself, causing eclipses, causing this. Not most people know this. Look at this. This was I can't remember how you get this. It's if you do something in Duskai, you can slip out of the map and you can uncover some of the programming that is programmed into the game. This blood red moon, it is scheduled to come in the game, and that's gonna happen as the plague of the star draws closer, and there's a correlation with Noctis gathering darkness and causing the darkness in the world. And what's he doing all of this for? Also, he can sit on his darkened, cold throne and rule alone with his immortal power, making the same mistake his ancestors made long ago. And that is why, guys, I believe that Noctis, he could be the greatest villain of all time for whatever reason, whatever manipulation or whatever end goal it may truly be. Good or bad, Noctis will come through as the hero, I'm sure, but what he does leading up to that, the things he does, that's stuff that could top Sephiroth, Ultra Mercia, Kefka, and even XIII combined. I mean, of course we know there's going to be more to that, but frame Noctis different, and he's not as good a guy as you think. And he could be Tabata's ultimate portrayal that nothing is either good or bad. This could really be the Final Fantasy that totally smashes and redefines the concept of what a hero, villain, anti-hero, all of it. This could completely redefine what a hero is. Or it could just be Ardyn. It could just be Ardyn. I know what would resonate with me on a far deeper and more meaningful level. Noctis's kill count, his ability to suck and draw and wither the very life out of creatures and beings, there is no magic darker than that. And Noctis, framed in any other light but the hero, if they gave him a quirky hat and a Kefka laugh and he wasn't the guy you was playing with, we would all see him as a villain. The line between hero and villain is so tenuous, and all it takes is a simple flip of perspective on the director's behalf to completely change that. It's incredible. And that right there alone would be the recipe for the greatest, most profound, most sticking, long-lasting, memorable Final Fantasies of all time. Let me know if you agree. Thanks for watching, guys. I've enjoyed this series. The Chaos Theory videos have been a lot of fun interacting with you guys. I have to give so much praise and thanks to other peasants for this, for things like the connection to Nadir. Oh, Nadir! Ardyn is Nadir. I have to thank other peasants for that. I can't thank everyone. Like I said, if I did that every video, god damn, it would be longer than the credits at the end of a movie, because there's so many of you, so many peasants, such a community. Love you guys. If you want to join the peasant community, go over to Patreon if you want to support me. Go over to Patreon, check out what's there if you like my videos, if you want to support me. Just want to clarify, the videos are capped at 4 to 5 max. I only charged 4 videos last month, and it helps. Every single penny helps. I can't do these videos, these really long videos, without your support. I couldn't have bought this microphone, I couldn't have bought my camera, which doesn't work right now because the shitty Windows 10 update. I couldn't have bought the new editing software. I've got everything you've done, guys, all of your likes, all your subscribes, all of you patrons. Thank you so much. Hope you've enjoyed this. Until the next video, which I don't know what it'll be yet. Who knows? Let's go with the flow. Until then, guys, goodbye.